that we've talked, I thought that you were just a Twitch streamer. I had no fucking clue that you had a YouTube channel with like 100,000 subscribers.
Yeah, but I don't know if you noticed, but I'm not getting, those kind of views these days. So I don't know. But yeah, I'm mostly on YouTube. I do some Twitch stuff, but yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Um, okay, so there's a topic that you want to talk about. I hadn't really heard much about this because I've been dealing with the fucking race war that's been going on in Twitch politics.
Well, tell me about
uh,
that before we start. I'm actually interested in that. What's
um,
going on with it?
essentially, there was a video essay put out by a socialist streamer that was saying that white leftists are bad for the left. A lot of people got really mad, but the thing that was especially the thing that really got people upset, including me, because I don't like it when people are hateful fucks, um, was they started calling other black people like racial slurs because they didn't agree with their political opinions. Um, and so, you know, me and a bunch of other people were, saying that that was wrong. That racial slurs are bad, and evidently
Right.
that's not the leftist position anymore. And so yeah, and so I had a debate.
Interesting.
Yeah, I had a debate the other day on a guy named Wick TV's show, and um, they were just like talking about killing cops and putting the fear of God into white people, and it was a hell of a show. I think that I'm probably not nearly as left as I was when we last talked.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. Yeah, it's funny. I started out left. Of course, I was much younger in college, and you kind of expect that, but
Mhm.
I kind of it was similar things happening like that kind of contradicted what I always thought being a liberal was. And that's kind of what got me. And I've always said, I get called a right winger or whatever. People with my point of view get put into that label, but we're not necessarily like, and right wing uses a pejorative, kind of a demonizing pejorative these days. You think of right wing, you think of like skinhead Nazi or something, So, but yeah, it was that kind of thing that got me questioning things too. So that's interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
for
saw
me,
that. I saw there was like
uh,
Destiny Sneeko debate. Is that where that originated?
no, no, no.
Oh,
This
okay.
is Destiny has kind of removed himself from the sphere completely after his Twitch ban. So
Really? Okay.
yeah, he's long gone. He doesn't he'll still interact with people, but it's not what it
What?
used to be.
Yeah. Well, I never really knew him on Twitch. I've only been watching him recently on YouTube, and that's only because I was in a debate with him, and then YouTube started suggesting all these Destiny
Oh
videos,
yeah.
so I watched a few of them, and so that's how I know of him now. But um, yeah, that's interesting. I saw he did a bunch of debates on YouTube with Sneeko and some people I don't really know much about, but it was along those lines. And there's this black
Oh
streamer
yeah,
who.
he had his
Okay.
like anti-black arc as well, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. Well, is that how it seems like that's kind of what you're talking about? The left being racist to the people who don't toe the line, which is so funny because we've been saying that for so long. Like that was a big thing back during the Obama years about, you remember Glenn Beck talking about getting off the Democrat plantation and all that. That's what all that was
Yeah,
about.
I think that this is a little bit different than that. I mean, like I was really young during the Obama years, right? So I can't like really speak to that, but like this is like a whole nother level of like I know I'm gonna fuck. I'm trying not to appeal too hard to like conservatives in a conversation with a conservative,
No,
but
it's
like
okay.
yeah like there's
We get where you're coming
they,
from.
yeah, they like take the CRT stuff like every aspect of it that's like the absolute worst aspect of CRT. They take that to like the most extreme level. And so like there's a black streamer named Shark300 that because he agrees with Vosh, he is a raccoon, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
they use a lot of language like that. That's just kind of overtly racist. That's why a lot of us have been saying the left's pretty racist. Like,
well,
I don't know. It's
it's
true.
it's like this thing where I don't think that like overwhelmingly the left is like I still don't think that even though I fight with like far lefties all the time now, the kind of vibe that I get is that there after Trump lost the election in 2020, the like unified left that we knew in 2018 through the end of that presidency like fractured completely. There was no solidarity left anymore. They went from attacking one target to like slitting each other's throats all the time. And it feels like the what would have been like this is like one small faction of like far leftists that are attacking other far leftists for things that like probably aren't really that deep or as bad as they claim it is.
Well, I mean, I would say that these people that are attacking the left or whatever, because or these people that are acting racist on the left, I think that they're just racists, and I don't know. I mean, I feel like you're trying to make excuses for it or something. Like it's just they're just racist.
Saying like I don't think I'm just like trying to like compartmentalize in my mind like because what I used to do a long time ago was I just said like right wing is bad, right? Like
Mhm.
anyone who is like conservative or further than that, like you go from like conservative to like neocon to like fascist to neo-Nazi, and then
Right.
like all of those things were like the same thing in my mind. And as I've streamed and as I've learned more about politics and as I changed my major to political science, I started like compartmentalizing all of these
I see.
different segments of like political thought. So like I would differentiate the like broad like left like talking like Democrats to fucking anarcho communists. Like I would categorize them into like fuck the left is so much more fractal than the right. Like there's like 50,000 different like left leaning ideologies, and everybody thinks that theirs is the correct one, and everybody else needs to like be
Exactly.
put to the sword. Yeah.
It's
Um,
that's what intersectionality I think may have done that. It like balkanized the left. It's balkanizing the country in general, but
I think that what the intersectionality. Let me think. Um,
so yeah.
I think that everyone has like such a different interpretation of it that like that did end up being the one of the things that might have contributed to this. But there's so much more.
Well,
Uh,
I'll explain what I mean by that. So I mean like there was a moment probably it started like in the late 90s but really gained steam like during the late Obama years. This idea of like forming this coalition, multiracial, multi like thing to that would be able to take over the vote and basically wipe out the Republicans as like this unified multiracial a political party basically. But and they have all these intersecting reasons to be allies or whatever, but it's obvious when all these people are coming together and they're all kind of there's like this hierarchy of victimization going on. It's obvious they're going to start like fighting each other over
yeah,
domination
the,
over who's like the biggest victim or whatever.
yeah, the like approach in Olympics is one thing that I largely like moved away from like believing in like the like hyper woke shit is like super stupid to me now.
Yeah, but it's
I
so mainstream. Like I feel like it's
it
getting a little bit of pushback finally, but
I think that the kind of stuff that like we would define as like hyper woke would probably differ greatly.
yeah, maybe.
Like
Yeah.
yeah.
Good.
Okay. So
Well,
I don't
it's
have like
funny.
oh
Can I just say something on that, and then
yeah
we
yeah yeah.
can move on to the other topic? But it's funny because I just made a Twitter post about In Living Color. Do you remember that show?
I do remember that show. I was
How old are
like
you,
barely. I'm
if you want to say?
27, but yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
here you go.
I rented the VHSs from Blockbuster a
Okay,
long time ago.
yeah, it's good stuff. And if you look at it, especially like I went through and I looked at all the intros they had, they always like really promoted like racial harmony and getting along and like screw the past, move on. We're all in this together, kind of. And that's how I remember the '90s. That's how like I was. I was really into like rap and hip hop and like black movies and like it didn't like that didn't mean anything to me like race and stuff. And then it's like as we got out of the Obama years, the late Obama years, all that started changing, and now it's like everybody's at each other's throats for some reason. It's
I
weird.
think that the internet is like the biggest catalyst for that because instead of like everyone having to like live together and be together all the fucking time, and you know, like you don't have to like hear these like super extremists all the fucking time on the internet, and maybe like change your opinion to that like over time as they like kind of like pull you in with like soft versions of their beliefs into, you know, the extreme shit. um like I feel like things were a little bit less tense back then. I mean, I was I was 5 in
Young.
2000, so it's not like I
Yeah.
remember a whole bunch, but like even throughout like my like throughout the 2000s and into like 2010s, it felt like way less tense until we get to like 2014-ish, and then things start like really ramping up.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely something happened. And, you know, I definitely think the powers that be, you know, whatever that may be, they benefit from people being against each other and fighting each other. I think there's definitely truth to that. They benefit from us going after each other rather than them. And you see what happens when we go after them. You're seeing it right now with what's going on with these FBI whistleblowers. And I don't know your opinion on this. I haven't talked to you at all, actually, about this, so I
Yeah.
have no idea what your take is on it. But
Well, I started looking into it as soon as you told me about it, because again, like I for the past like week and a half, it's been no like recent news. It's all been, you know, the whatever's going on in Twitch. But I looked into this, and there's like 3 different things that like we could be talking about. So I want to see which one, because I had to like read a fuckload of articles. I didn't realize how like fucking insane things are right now at like Capitol Hill. But
yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's actually been going on a while, but the media, our media is corrupt as fuck. And honestly, they're as intertwined with all of this stuff that's going on, which is why they're acting like this, because they're covering their own ass. They're implicated in all this, in my opinion. It's pretty clear to me, but and to a lot of people. But essentially, what's going on here is we've been having these FBI whistleblowers coming out, and there's other ones, not just these 3. There's actually more. Senator Grassley, he's working with some as well. Who the one that Senator Grassley is working with have said that their FBI agents, they were ordered not to investigate the Hunter or the Biden family, not to investigate Hunter or anything. And they were told, just don't mess with it. And now these other whistleblowers, now that today we finally heard from them, they're all veterans, highly, you know, these are cream of the crop kind of people. There's only 3 of them so far that have come out, and it's not hard to see why, because their lives have been ruined since they came out. There's definitely been retaliation. And instead, our media and the Democrats, instead of, you know, they told us when these whistleblowers were coming out against Trump that these people are sacred whistleblowers. These are sacred heroes of democracy. You know, Vindman and the other whistleblowers. But now, of course, when they're implicated in what the whistleblowers are talking about, now we have to destroy these people. The FBI is destroying these people, destroying their careers. One of them, the day he moved into his house, they suspended him, took away his clearance. Basically, he's not getting money. He just moved into his house, and they took everything away from him. And in response to that, and
when
we
you
can
say
get into
they,
that.
you're talking about just like the federal government,
The
or are you talking
FBI,
about,
the FBI,
how did
the
the
FBI, the FBI
took
stripped
his
their
house from him?
clearance. Yeah, took their not took the house, but the day they moved in, they essentially fired him and took away his security clearance, basically not making him unable to get another job in that world. And this happened to all 3 of these guys.
Yeah, so here are like a couple of questions, because I didn't have a whole lot to go off of unless I was going to read like 4 months worth of articles, trying to like read from like right-wing sources, left-wing sources,
Right.
and like centrist, which is usually what I try to do, to get like a more holistic picture. Like it seemed like when I looked it up, most of these stories were on Fox News or like Australian Sky News.
Right. All right, because
but,
our
like, from
media
what
is messed up.
But like this is like my understanding.
Hmm?
Is it okay? So the guys that got their clearance taken, were they they had their clearance taken away for like separate reasons, right?
Right. Well, yeah, supposed reasons. One of them,
Yeah.
I know one of them was supposed insubordination because he refused to essentially spy on these regular people for what were, as he saw it, totally politically partisan reasons. Not,
Are we talking about the
not,
parents at the school board meetings?
right, exactly, yeah.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about that. I think that when we talk about these school board meetings that the FBI was investigating, I'm not going to lie. I I'm like 50-50 on it for this reason. There were actual credible threats that people were making at school board meetings to like kill like
No.
random fucking like yes there were like this
There
is
were
like
like
I
a
don't
there were like not even a handful. There were like two or something, like actual like crazy motherfuckers that were out there. Like, but the whole
and I mean there were
the,
several assaults on school board members.
assaults, and yeah, I mean those are we'd have to go instance by instance on that, but clearly like everybody saw the videos from that. For the most part, it was just people like raising their voices. There were several videos out there of people getting dragged out by cops when they were just like raising their voices, or when they were reading from books that were in the schools, that the school were like, this is inappropriate, you can't read this, and they refused to stop, and then they had police remove those people.
Sure.
Like, I'm assuming
From my memory,
FBI like looked into those people.
well, from my memory, this is, and this was a long time ago. There were credible threats of like death threats, or at least death threats that were at least like worrisome enough for like law enforcement to look into. Well, hold on, really quick.
Okay.
There were some like assaults that happened at these school board meetings, and then a lot of the
Okay.
people that got drug out. Now, this is where I'm like kind of 50-50 on, right? It there's like procedural things that like in any circumstance like you have to like follow these procedural things so that they can get through like whether it's a city council meeting or whether it's a school
Right.
board meeting or something like that.
I understand that.
And the videos that went most viral, and this is something I argued again, like when did this happen, like 2021, 2022, like it's been a long time, but like that's my recollection of like the majority of these incidents were either like people like actually like, just like breaking rules that they couldn't do the school board meeting where they had like necessary like other things besides like book book issues, or like they have to like pass budgets and shit, so
Okay. Yeah, I mean, okay, whatever. That's all like local podunk shit. Like at the very highest level, the local police can be dealing with that. It does not require the freaking FBI. And also, when the FBI are so laser focused on these regular folk, oddly, it just seems it's like weird. Like actual attacks are happening by people who the FBI knew about, but yet apparently weren't paying attention to because they were focused on parents at school board meetings.
well,
Like,
sure, like to both
and
of
we
those
have
things.
right.
Just to both of those things, but like the FBI, when it comes to
And you're saying,
the people, the people that like the FBI knew about that like eventually went off and did a mass shooting, right? Like I agree. I wish that the FBI had more power to actually do something about these people. But like as a conservative, I would assume that you're against like red flag laws.
yeah, well, you
Okay,
should be.
so
Well, everybody should be, but yeah.
I've heard like decent arguments. I'm not like anti-gun, but like the mass shooting's got to fucking stop, right? But like there's like so we don't want red flag laws. We don't want to arrest people based off of suspicion, right? We like it's not like the FBI had like intimate details of like what their plan was and when it was going to happen, right? They had on their watch list for like posting like spooky things on the internet, right? So at what point do you want the FBI to go in and like lock someone up for like
Well,
being
I
on the
mean,
internet?
I think the overall point. I mean, I get what you're saying, but like the overall point is like the FBI should have better things to do than worry about parents. And also, this is
They
like
were
part of a
requested
pattern.
by. I don't
Right,
think it's part
right,
of
but
the pattern. The school boards
they
of
rescinded
America,
that
like, from
letter.
all
They rescinded that and apologized. The school board did, or the school board association or whoever
after
wrote that
they
letter.
like made the announcement that they were going to like use the FBI to start investigating these things.
Right. Well, and we're going to hear more about that in the coming hearings and the threat tags. And there already have been hearings about that, like all these threat tags that were used for ridiculous reasons. Like there are so many people like you don't even know about because our media never reports on it that were harassed by the FBI, like real Stasi, like scary crap. Like if it was happening to left-wingers, left-wing protesters, like pro-choice protest, like we would be hearing about it. But instead, it's under the radar because the media and the Democrats have done such a good job of painting any sort of resistance or opposition to them as extremists, right-wing extremists, MAGA extremists, all this kind of crap. But like you were talking about the threats and all that, I want to ask people if they notice there's a definite pattern. And when we hear this excuse of we heard bomb threats or death threats, like you always hear that. They always say that in response to criticism or scrutiny of Democrats, of the government, FBI, things like that. Boston Children's Hospital, they said that a lot, even though it turned out they were doing all these surgeries that they claimed they weren't. And so they'll throw that out there. But
Threats or no?
Hold on. But when do you ever hear that excuse? Have you ever, one time ever, heard anybody from the media or Democrats be like, no, we can't say these things about Republicans because they're getting threats. They're getting death threats. Do you ever even hear about the death threats that Republicans get? Or like that conservative, no, you don't. That's not a thing.
I mean, I do, but like I pay more attention to the news.
I am a media junkie, dude. I'm telling you, like it doesn't exist. Like where?
Well,
tell me an example.
Think about what you're saying. Could the even given what you're saying, could you also not like extrapolate from that statement that that maybe people on the left or liberals don't send as many like bomb threats that are
no, but they
credible
do.
to
The threats are
conservatives?
there. No, they do. Even I, in my little self, gets threats. I could show you.
Okay, do you get bomb threats?
I get death threats.
I mean, I've gotten death threats too.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, we know that, like, Rand Paul gets death threats. Like, we had a Democrat, and you probably don't even know about this. You might if you know me, but, like, a Democrat, Bernie supporter, tried to assassinate, like, half the GOP Congress. And he was almost successful. And while he was shooting at these guys on the baseball diamond, while they were playing baseball, he was screaming, "This is for health care."
Or 2016.
Right. 2015, you're right. Or 2016. And he was screaming,
remember.
"This is for..."
I know what you're talking about.
Okay, but my point is, like, at no point did anybody ever say, like, oh, we should, we incited Democrats and our rhetoric incited that we should tone it down. No, there's, like, today, on this very day, like, Jean Karen Pierre gets up there and says that Republicans are terrorizing the country and holding it hostage and using all this language. Hakeem Jeffries gets up there every day. The Democrat,
okay, hold on. We need to like slow down. Like,
no, my point is, like,
significantly. Yeah,
we're going off the rails.
We're talking
here.
about we're talking about like individual statements that like I don't know what they are and I don't know like what they were.
Okay.
Like, I don't have like the exact.
Well, you're not
going to
know because it's never an issue. That's my point though. It's only an issue one way. That's my point.
No, well, like
you're not going to hear about that
again,
stuff on the other side.
I think
unless
that
you
one
watch
thing
me.
that. Well, here's the thing. Like, I think that what people need to do, and I think that people need to do this for like towards the right as well. A lot of people like soy out when they hear someone use like, "We need to fight for this," right? And then they'll immediately think that this is an immediate like danger to life and liberty. But like that's not necessarily the case, right? So like one example of this, right? That I think that was not like horrible messaging from the left, right? That was just like normal political, like, rallying would be like Bernie Sanders saying like, we need to go out there and give them hell. Do you think that Bernie Sanders is calling for anyone to like literally go out there and shoot people?
Well, no,
but like,
that's just like, Donald Trump wasn't telling people. Yeah.
Well, I don't think that Trump himself like incited January 6th, but I think that there's like so much there. But I don't want to get into January 6th right now.
Hold on.
So like, I actually want to ask you a question about the whole like whistleblower stuff, right? Just to get back on track. So like, we see there's these 3 guys that say that they were fired or they got their security clearance taken away because they, one was insubordination. You said I don't know what the other 2 were, but like there are these issues and they got their clearance taken away. Now there's also on the other on another committee that they're trying to like find malfeasance on the Biden's part. There's also like informants that are missing, that are like completely,
Right. Right.
like they don't have any like documentation. They don't have any, uh, like any
Yeah.
proof. They don't have anything. Like, does that like worry you at all? Like when it comes
It
to,
does. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm worried for these people because obviously something's going on. Like the three guys today, and I can bring up the clip here, were warning that anybody that's going to do this, like your life is on the line. Like your life is probably going to be over if you do this. But like you need to come out. And they were talking about this today, the chilling effect of what the government has done to these guys and what the Democrats and the media are currently doing to these guys. I mean, that's a big part of my
I
point
think
here
that the
is
reason that they're getting ripped apart is because they can't really connect they can't draw this direct connection between them getting their security clearance taken away and them being political dissidents.
well, no, like, so like they're trying to wrangle over this whistleblower label, and it's so important that they have been retaliated against. And so that's what like they're arguing over, the semantics over. The point is they're
That's
coming
like
forward.
the key to the entire argument. Like
No,
if they
it's
weren't
not though.
retaliated against.
It's really like they're clearly being retaliated against, but even if you throw that out, like, okay, screw it. Like, still, what they're saying the FBI has been engaged in, combined with like the Durham report and what we already knew, like they've been engaged in for years now, combined with like how the media's treated it all the way up to this point and after, like,
What have they been engaged in? Just like because again, I'm coming from
okay,
a completely different point of view.
okay,
So I
do
need
you
to
know the Durham report? Are you aware with what's in the Durham report?
Tell me.
Okay, so the Durham report basically
I
concluded
might know
that.
it, but I don't know the name.
Okay, well, it just came out a couple days ago, but it's been ongoing for years now, and it's an investigation of the Russian collusion investigation into Trump, and he basically concluded that none of it should have happened. Like there was no evidence to back up any of it. It was never corroborated. The FBI knew for a fact, Peter Strzok, who headed up the Trump investigation into Trump, knew that the Hillary Clinton campaign was already cooking up plans to connect Trump to the DC hack into Russia without any evidence. They bought that the Steele dossier and they were using that as pretext. The FBI knew this. Okay, they already knew it, and yet they went along with all of it anyway. They pretended like they didn't know and that all of this was real, and that's how.
Okay,
that's
so
how the entire Russian collusion thing happened. Like we already know Peter
So
Strzok.
if it started off of like false premises, that's bad.
Right.
But if there was actual indictments and convictions based off of things that happened,
There weren't.
I mean,
They were all
what was the
the only
general's name
convictions
that
that
got indicted
happened.
and eventually.
No.
Yeah.
No, all the only conviction. Well, there was a couple convictions. They're all process crimes. First of all, like supposedly lying under oath and lying to the FBI. When it turns out, like especially Flynn did not lie to the FBI. In fact, the FBI said that he didn't lie to them, and yet he was still convicted of lying to the FBI. There's lots of weirdness like that, and yet
Hold on,
these
no,
FBI
that's
directors.
completely false right there. I know
it's
that
not.
for a
It's
fact.
not.
Yes,
It's
it is
not.
100% false.
It's not.
He admitted to lying to the FBI. He tried to take. I think he did take a plea deal, and that's why.
Right,
he got
because
the
they were
conviction.
threatening his son. They were threatening his son with that they were going to go after him, and then that's when Flynn agreed to that. But it turns out later, this is out there. Look at, here, I'll find it.
Okay, hold on.
So there's lots about this, but
The investigation. Okay, so people in my chat are saying the investigation was deemed absolutely warranted, but Durham said it should be started as a preliminary investigation rather than a full-blown one. So it's what it
right,
sounds
and
like
it
to
turned
me,
out that he like these documents came out. Man, this has been a while now that I've been in this, but Flynn actually didn't lie about anything. Like he was very forthcoming about everything, and the FBI even said that they didn't think he was lying. And Peter Strzok wanted to
I know
keep
exactly
the
what he
investigation
lied
going.
about, and they have documentation that he did lie. There's like literal evidence, like physical evidence that they have.
Hold on, I gotta
Yes.
find. I should.
Okay.
Like I said, I didn't prepare, but hold on.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't either. So like, we're both kind of
Tried
like
to get-
flying by the seat of our pants. But like,
And
what he lied
the
about
FBI was
calling
actually
it-
instructed to try and get him to lie. Hold on.
if he
And his
lied
supposed
under
lie
oath,
was that he
if he
didn't
lied
remember
under
something.
oath, then
No, his
no,
supposed lie was that he didn't
no,
remember something.
he said he didn't. Fuck.
It's
This
been
is
a
like
while,
a
so I
super
might be wrong.
semantic, like the way that like the argument against it is super semantic. But he lied that he didn't talk to someone. I can't remember the guy's name, a Russian guy that he was working with while he was working with Trump, and he did make those calls, and they are on the record.
One second.
I
Yeah, I'm
can't
trying to
remember off
find
the
it.
top of my head what
I'm
he
trying
said
to
he
find it
didn't
right
remember.
now.
Yeah.
Newly released documents. This is stuff from 2020. There's newer stuff. Let's see here. I mean, even like I can't even remember what Flynn even lied about. It was about
So
a
it was
meeting
about
or
a
something.
it was a phone call that he made while he was in Jamaica with, I can't remember the guy's name. Like if it would come back to me if
Why
I
are
saw
we
like
even
a first
on
letter,
this?
but
Anyway, so like okay, so this is all goes back to the Durham report, and it's so funny. That's what I feel like this is exactly what the media and all these people are trying to do. They try to get you. This is also like crazy. You get wrapped up in all of this, and the fact remains that the FBI, there. I go back to the GOP baseball game shooting, okay? It was later the FBI. So Chris Wray tried to pass that off as suicide by cop early on, and the media quickly moved on from it. But when you think about that, it could have been a devastating terrorist attack. If he'd have actually killed like several of the think about that. We'd had to have these new elections after a partisan terrorist attack on Republican senators. That would have been big. But he only almost killed Steve Scalise. And since then, they quietly admitted it was a domestic terrorist attack, and that's just weird to me. Like if that had been reversed and it was Republican attacking Democrats, do you think there had been any question given like all the facts? Of course not. That would be an event locked into the memories of the American people for the next 100 years. Like
okay,
look at how they
things.
commemorate Charlottesville. I mean,
Okay, well, Charlottesville was really bad. Okay, I don't think that even you would say
Not
that
really.
Nazis are okay.
well, Nazis aren't okay, but I mean, Nazis have marched in Skokesville in the 60s and shit. Like, they're always fucks like that are always going to be out there. Like,
Yeah, and this was a neo-Nazi rally that was like that they wanted to be publicized, and they got a lot of eyes on it, and they wanted
that whole
people to
thing is
know-
very odd to me, by the way. I honestly think that the government's involved in a lot of this shit. I honestly think
not with these guys, because we like.
You don't think the
people in
Tiki
this-
Torch thing was weird as shit? I remember thinking when I saw
Listen,
it, like, what
well,
is
here-
this?
I mean, yeah, it was weird because it was a bunch of fucking retards walking around with fucking tiki torches
Well,
saying
yeah.
Jews will not replace us. All right? But the
Right.
problem is that like people in the space, people that me and you have talked to the organizers of that rally, right? We know who they are, and they're
Unite
not
the right
government
and all
agents.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, like that
Yeah, but
wasn't a
federal agents
government
could've-
organized thing. And then also, like that happened under the Trump administration with a Republican-led or like a Trump-appointed like FBI leader. Like, if you think that there was like a deep state for like investigating Trump, that's one thing. But like he would have to like put people, this Trump appointee, into the Charlottesville thing to then like make it national news to make Trump look worse. Like,
Well, look at how the media really drove that. They really drove it by completely like editing the interview, that press conference they did where they claimed he said neo-Nazis were verified people. That shit went on like up until recently. Like Biden still claims that all the time.
I mean,
it's
hold
a
on.
total lie.
There are timelines, and I have not seen a good counterclaim to the timeline that like Trump said it and then he like walked it back and then he kind
I know this one front and back, man. I can tell you everything about it, and I'm telling you.
I don't have the timeline on that one, but like when it comes to like Charlottesville, I'm not gonna say that like the FBI started that, and I don't think that like most conservatives liked Charlottesville, right? But it
No,
was
of course not.
right. But like the neo-Nazis did like Trump, all right? They like did like the Heil Trump
The communists,
thing, right?
Okay.
The communists
love
fucking
Democrats.
No, are you fucking kidding me? That's been
Oh, come on. Look.
my life for the past like year has been fighting retarded communists ever since I
Well,
stopped being a socialist.
Who do you think
because
they vote for?
You think that communists fucking vote?
The ones who
Like,
do, they vote. They vote.
the ones
Yes,
that do vote,
absolutely, dude.
they'll probably vote for
How do you
Democrats,
think we're getting
or
these
they'll
like
vote
insane
third party.
mayors at Chicago and shit, man? Like,
That's not going to be communist. That's going to be like stupid fucking lefties that are taking the when I say okay. So like we have like communists, and then we have like socialists, and then we have progressives. Again, like I do like the compartmentalizing in my mind of like these
right.
different groups, right? And so I would say like the socialists and the progressives, they probably like did do organizing for like these mayors, but there was also, you have to keep in mind that like in 2020 a lot of these elections happened in 2020, and a lot of these mayors were like riding the high of like the the crazy protests that happened at that time. I don't think that it was like some communist like thing to like get these bad mayors or these bad district attorneys into office. It was just like people like voting blue all the way down and not really knowing who they were voting for.
These weird Marxist philosophies getting injected into all of our institutions suddenly is weird, don't you think? Like the president of the United States and the vice president highly promoting equity, which is a straight up like communist concept. That's weird. Are we supposed to just
as a former communist? As a former communist, equity is not a
Dude,
communist ideology.
It absolutely is. Like even Bernie Sanders rejects equity. It's too far left for him.
How do you get further? Do you think that Biden is further left than Bernie Sanders?
He somehow, yeah. Now he is, yeah. He did not. He's a blank slate for whoever's controlling him needs him to be, and it's pretty far left.
I like hyper disagree. I think that like the equity like talking points are like trying to pander to like the progressive wing of like the Democratic base. That it's stupid, and I actually don't even know what they're trying to accomplish with it, because most of the policies that they're passing that are major pieces of legislation are not like putting a lot of stuff into equity. There's like some like throwaway things here so that they can have talking points, but it's not like they're like
it's dribbling in. They can't just ham fist it.
Yeah, because nobody agrees with it, including them. But they're like trying to like sell to their base that they're like all about equity. Because
I don't know, man. Sometimes I wonder if China already took over and it's just like branding, and they're just easing us into it.
Biden is the most hawkish president in my lifetime on China. Like the things that we're doing, like I don't know, like I don't know like how much you know about like our like geopolitical like posturing, like when it comes to like Japan and Taiwan and South Korea, and like the Pacific. Okay, like do you not think that like us helping Japan like militarize so that like if China tries to invade Taiwan, that like Japan said that they're going to respond, and then we have like the fucking our allies in I don't even know what to call the region, like where Indonesia is. We like control that port, and so like we've already said that we're going to close off all of China's oil if they try to do anything fucking crazy over there. And so like any war effort they want to do over there will last like 2 weeks before they ran out of oil. And then like you look at the economic policies where we're decoupling from China in a lot of different ways. Like economically, we're trying to bring business either back into the United States or into allied was.
There we go.
What things can we? Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I had to, my wireless headphones died. I had to switch real quick. Sorry.
Okay, you're fine. I don't have a whole lot longer to talk. Because I didn't realize how late it was. Let's hit like one or two more things.
Yeah, let me ask you. I want to get your take on some things. So you think there's nothing First of all, you think there's nothing wrong with what the FBI has done. You think there's nothing wrong with how the Democrats are kind of like trying to destroy these people who these whistleblowers who have exemplary. They have exemplary
Sure.
records.
This is where my stance is. Until they are able to demonstrate that there has been actual like retaliation for like whistleblowing activities.
All right. Let's just say forget the
that's
whistleblower. I'm
super,
talking about what
okay.
what they're saying the FBI did.
Which is like retaliation, right? Until they can demonstrate that this is.
That's
okay.
No,
then
that's
what is the
just
claim?
for the whistleblower status. Let's talk about what they're actually whistleblowing about. You see what I'm saying? See, that's what the Democrats and the media want to do. They want to make it about an argument over whether they're or not they're whistleblowers. But what the actual issue is, and at the hearing today, all the Republicans kept trying to steer it back. It's about what the FBI did and what these guys are saying they were asked to do. That's wrong and violating people's civil rights.
Okay. So one guy was the parents thing. That is contentious, whether that was justified or not. Do we know what the other guys were fired for? Was it the same thing?
They were
or
all
not fired, but yeah, essentially
it was.
Fired.
I only know, to be honest, I'm not 100%
because the only one that I heard was about the school board stuff. Yeah,
right. Same.
Okay,
exactly.
So I think, and this is like my opinion.
Or no, one of them was because he refused to spy on regular. Oh yeah, the school board thing. Okay, no, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So like when we look at that situation in particular, I'm going to need to see some evidence that it was like there were like no credible threats, right? And that the investigation was unjustified. From what I understand, there were credible threats. There were people that were like going in there and assaulting school board members. The school boards did ask for the federal government to step in because local police departments weren't capable of dealing with what was going on when it comes to like if there was a terroristic threat, who handles that? Like your local like podunk fucking police department, or are you going to like appeal to a higher like police authority, right?
Right.
So like I'm not gonna like sit here and like die on the hill that there's like no possible way that the FBI was like doing something wrong, right? But when I look at the instances or like all this talk about whistleblowers and things that they're trying to accuse the Biden administration of, like I'm going to need to see like something more than what has been presented thus far. Because what has been presented thus far, it seems like there is a guy that like on his own principles, granted. So like you can say that they're principled guys, but principled guys, when you're working in the FBI, if your principles go against what like the intelligence community wants to like gather information on, you're going to lose your security clearance.
Okay.
If they want to sue for like shorter time periods in which they can be considered whistleblowers, that's fine. They can advocate for that. But I don't think that means that there's some like conspiracy that because we've had laws on the books for like X amount of years that say there's a 1 year waiting period until you can claim whistleblower status.
Okay. Well, like I said, aside from the whistleblower stats, I'm more concerned. And I see what you're saying. And in a world where I was sure that there was being even-handed application of the law being applied, I would be like, sure, I get what you're saying. I agree. But we're not seeing that. Like, in fact, we've seen these hearings going on for years, like where they're asking Chris Wray, like, why is left-wing violence treated like it doesn't exist? Biden acts like it doesn't. The media acts like it doesn't exist. Like people in the media just outright say it doesn't exist.
Anyone that says it doesn't exist is fucking retarded.
Well, there are hearings going on right now about that. And like the argument that we're hearing a lot from the left is like, oh, it's just mostly property damage on the left, which is bullshit. And
okay, so I think that there's a difference between terror. Hold
that thought real quick. Hold that thought. I'm sorry, dude. I'm really sorry. I hate when people do.
You're fine. I'm just gonna take a note so that I can remember it.
Miss Mandy just gave me a super chat, and I want to read it. I've been wanting to, and I forgot. She said, "From what I understand, their clearance got taken right before the hearing," and I think she's right because I'm thinking about.
Then what was the hearing about?
Well, here I sent you a video link. I'm gonna play that real quick. Just how long do you have? How many minutes do you have left?
I got about 10 minutes.
Okay. Let me play a little bit of this real quick. I don't know. You probably won't be able to hear it, but I sent you the video.
Yeah, give me 1 second.
Just astonishingly heard a Democrat on this committee question your allegiance to the United States. How many tours in Iraq did you do?
I did 2 tours in Iraq, sir.
And for how many decades have you held a security clearance?
For 2 decades, sir.
Ever been called into question before?
No, sir.
And you also received the Employee of the Year award for the Charlotte field office, is that right?
That is correct, sir.
Did you receive any medals during your service for the Marine Corps and the United States Navy?
I did, sir. As a member of the Marine Corps, I received a Navy Commendation Medal and a Navy Achievement Medal.
Seems to me your allegiance to the United States is pretty well established over multiple decades, wearing the uniform, fighting for our country, and I am proud that you continue to fight for our country as a whistleblower here, making a disclosure.
So yeah, this specific guy that I just played a video of. This
is the 4-minute, 36-minute.
Correct. Yeah, I'm not gonna play the whole thing, but Marcus Allen specifically, no reason whatsoever. Flawless record, war hero, man of color. Okay, if that it means something.
Doesn't
to
change
people
my
left,
opinion
usually.
whatsoever.
Okay, but it usually means something.
Listen,
to
I've
people
been
left.
fighting with black people for the past week and a half. All right, I have people calling me like a plantation owner. Okay, I don't.
That's how it goes, man. That's what so many of us on the right have been saying. It's like, we're not racist. Like, stop calling us that. We don't, like, I've never looked at people in that way, you know, and yet.
No, it's insane.
Anyway,
okay,
but,
so the guy in question, he got his security clearance taken away like a year ago in January.
Marcus Allen?
For tweeting in support of January 6th.
No. Okay. So where are you reading that? Because that's bullshit.
Someone in chat just reminded me of it.
No,
I
it's not
remember
true.
hearing that on one of the news stories I listened to earlier today.
All right. Well, you got questioned about that during the hearing. For one, he did not tweet anything in support of January 6th. In fact, it was the Democrats came at him for that, and it was a completely different account. It's not him. It's just some random Marcus Allen that which is so funny because I remember back when there was some mass shooting. It was during the Obama years, and the guy had the same name as somebody in the Tea Party, and the media instantly jumped on it and said it was a Tea Party member. But it wasn't. It was just some person that had the same name, and it was the same thing in this instance. He does not agree with that. He made it clear, and it's funny because he said when they asked him about it, they're like, "Is that not your account?" And he's like, "That is not my account," and yet they still continue to like harass him about this tweet, like for multiple Democrats. So, yeah, that's bullshit.
It seems like when I was listening to the hearing earlier, it seemed like even like the law firm or whatever lawyer was representing him was like saying didn't seem to like deny that it was his Twitter account, but
no. Here, let me send you another link here real quick.
Okay.
Just so you have it. Here we go. I don't have. That's just the first link that had, and it's just the video I did on it. But
sure, yeah. Here, give me 1 second. I'll listen to it.
All right. It's quick. It's real short.
Yeah.
Remember when Trump whistleblowers were sacred heroes of democracy? Well, apparently not anymore that they're exposing corrupt Democrats.
Mr. Allen, have you ever used Twitter? Yes or no?
I have utilized Twitter, yes.
Okay, and is your account at Marcus A970-50645?
That is absolutely not my account.
Okay, that's not your account. Well, on December 5th, 2022,
Okay, so
an
I
account
hear
under the name
the
Marcus
thing that
Allen.
He's saying it's not his account. I don't know why his legal counsel would like decline to push back hard on the
Can you
idea
show
that,
me that? I didn't see that. Can you show me?
Fuck, this was like this was like a C-SPAN like 3-hour video that I watched or listened to while I was at
Me
work.
too. I watched it while I was with the kids today. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, what we can do is, are you free tomorrow?
Yeah, man. You want to continue this later?
Yeah. If there's a possibility that we could do it, like, because I'm free literally all day until like later in the evening. If you're, are you busy like during the day?
Well, I'm a stay-at-home dad and I got 4 kids, so yeah. But I have nap time. So probably around like 1 o'clock, I'm free.
Okay, let's do tomorrow at 1 o'clock. I'm going to get like all of the like specifics on this thing, because again, I'm not going to like sit here and say that like 100% like there isn't malfeasance happening, but it seems like from what I see, like coming from my perspective, and I'm like very much like a liberal institutionalist. I think that our system works best when we have faith in our institutions, and if we can't trust our institutions like at any level, I don't know who the fuck we do trust, because otherwise we're just getting information from like alt media online, and like we're
what do you
just,
think
like,
about everything that? What do you think? Just real quick, and I see where you're coming from, but I just want. We talked earlier about the Durham report. What do you think about the fact that the FBI, regardless of knowing that the Clinton campaign was cooking up this fake story, they still went along with it?
Okay, so my understanding is that they should have done a preliminary report and not a.
But they knew it wasn't real. They knew it wasn't. Like they
hold
had,
on. If they knew it wasn't real, then why did Flynn lie about like talking to the?
That's what I'm saying.
The
it's
Russian
like process
dude.
crime stops. It had nothing. There was nothing there.
Wait, no,
I
but he
gotta find
talked
it.
to
I
the
gotta have to
Russian
find
guy about like don't like pull the trigger on like implementing this policy that's like whatever trade policy that they were talking about with Russia, right? Like he said, don't pull the trigger on like doing that, because we're going to do this and then it's going to be great. We're going to be fine.
FBI agent in Flynn case has doubts about investigation, documents show. An FBI agent, and this is NPR, assigned to counsel Robert Mueller's team, told investigators he thought the probe into Michael Flynn was unclear and disorganized, and that the former national security advisor wasn't conspiring with Russia. And that's what Durham said. There was no evidence whatsoever that anybody, including Flynn, was doing anything wrong. That's the entire.
There was no evidence that would justify a full-blown.
They got him for a
investigation.
process crime, for supposedly lying. That's what I'm saying. Like, even the people, the supposed Russian troll farms that they indicted, never got convicted because they turned out they weren't Russian. They weren't connected to the Russian government.
No, that's 1,000,000% wrong. Okay, because the guy that is because the guy that was the guy admitted it now because he's the leader of the fucking Wagner group in Ukraine. The Prigozhin guy, he was in charge of the oh shit, what is it? Center for Political, or no, that's the fucking stupid Caleb Maupin thing. The Internet Research Agency or something like that. I can't remember which one of these things it was, but it was something that Prigozhin was in charge of that was Russian bot farms that he, I think after Trump lost in 2020, he admitted to it and was like bragging about it.
I'm on it right now. I'm looking at Wagner chief admits. This guy, oh, bullshit. This motherfucker's such a bullshitter, dude. Have you followed him like through the Ukraine war at all?
Yeah, I've been following the Ukraine war super close.
Me too, man. I'm on it every day. But in fact, I've been wanting to almost like start a separate channel for it because I'm afraid to talk about it on this one. But yeah, this guy's such a bullshit.
I know
man.
that you've talked to Dylan Burns about it.
Yeah.
Maybe I watched that y'all's debate about it, and we can like hit on that because I have strong opinions on that one. But anyways, we do gotta do this again. I'm sorry that I gotta leave, but I didn't realize how late it was. But yeah, like tomorrow at your if you're
About
1 o'clock,
I'll
that's
on here.
Eastern.
Eastern.
That means I'm noon. So
Okay.
alrighty. Yeah.
I'll be here,
all right.
man.
All right. Catch you then, buddy.
Thanks.
All right. Bye.
Later. All right, folks. So yeah, that was my debate. Jacob, you in here, man? My buddy, Darth Jacob. Where's
Yep,
my buddy?
I'm right in here, mate.
What's up, man? How you doing?
Going well, mate.
My
Yeah, I
brother
listened
from
to-
an Australian mother.
Mate, if I was my mother, if she was my mother, and you were and you have the same mother, we would be in an incest relationship.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's just a joke, you know. It's just my Aussie humor.
How you doing, man? What's up?
Yeah, going well. I've listened to it, and yeah, to be honest, I understand why he thinks we should trust our institutions, but the thing is, I know a thing or two about institutions involved in corruption. In fact, I was at the first day of the trial of a former Queensland police officer who exposed police brutality against a Maori guy. And yeah, he leaked the footage to the media because he didn't feel that that there was going to be justice. So And as a result, the police used him as a scapegoat, QPS, and charged him with misconduct offences because they think he was jealous against a officer who was involved in the police brutality, to think that the officer who leaked it was jealous against him. So I know a thing or two about what is corruption and misconduct. So I've seen that before.
Yeah. Yeah, man, we got problems over here for sure. And my mind is made up. I gotta say, like, the thing, I feel like more and more everything I already knew was happening is being confirmed, and it should be obvious to everybody, really. If it were happening to Democrats, if it were reversed, there would be giant protests in the streets, and the media would be treating it like Watergate 2.0. You know what I mean? It'd be like this huge political, and they'd use it as a revolutionary calling. And instead, they just treat it like anybody who sees us as a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the thing is, every media and politician has a motive. They have this motive to actually try and control the narrative. And the thing is about the governments and the media, they have an interest in this sort of thing. Like the thing is, there's not a lot of accountability against those, because in my history in Australia, in looking up, serious misconduct and corruption, to anyone who noticed, look up Roger Rogerson. He was a former massively corrupt police officer who worked with a criminal named Nettie Smith. Like, this is to show that police officers can abuse their power to pursue their own interests, and this has cover up for many years. Roger Rogerson's in jail now for murdering a drug dealer. That's not because he got kicked out of the police force in the 80s. But man, the point is, corruption is everywhere, and the problem is we are actually we're not actually acknowledging it. We're not fully acknowledging it and working together, and we're not acknowledging there is dirtiness within the government. That it's just that on the right we agree there's corruption a lot. Yet there may be some that may not fully acknowledge it. I'm trying to word this correctly so I don't mess up. It's just that mainly on the left, they just play it down. They just don't fully understand it, and that they don't acknowledge that the people who's right-leaning or conservative or libertarian acknowledge they have good points. And so we're stuck with the fact that the media is playing a motive or an agenda to manipulate the information to control how people think. Yeah, that's what I say.
Yeah, and you know what? It's interesting. Over time, what has become clear, I think, to all of us, is that it's not just happening here; it's happening in all the Western nations. It's weird. It's like the same thing is creeping through all of our countries. And sorry.
Continue.
Actually,
you continue.
Guys, I got to use the restroom real quick. I'm gonna do that real fast. Jacob, give me just a minute. And while I'm gone, I'm going to play this little song, and I think you guys are going to enjoy it. I'll be right back.
Trump, Putin, Russian collusion.
Trump, Russian sort of collusion.
Trump, Russian, possible collusion. Trump, Russian, metal collusion. Trump, Russia, possible collusion.
Trump, Russian, potentially collusion.
Trump, Russia, possible collusion.
Trump, Russian, possible collusion.
Trump, Russian, collusion. Trump, Russian collusion. Trump, Russia, possible collusion. Russia hacked our election. Here comes a big change. Because all of a sudden, Trump, Russian, possible collusion, Russian collusion.
Trump, Russian, possible collusion.
Trump, Russian, possible collusion. Trump, Russians, collusion.
Collusion with the Russians. Trump, Russia, possible collusion. Trump, Russia, possible collusion. Prove collusion. Prove collusion.
Was there collusion?
Absolutely.
Russia, possible collusion. Trump, 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 Russia, potential collusion. Trump, Russia, potential collusion.
And the Kremlin and be in collusion with Putin. And the Kremlin and be in collusion and Putin. And the Kremlin and be in collusion with Putin. And the Kremlin very worried in collusion. This president in collusion with Putin and the Kremlin and be in collusion. This president president in collusion with Putin and the Kremlin. Very worried. In collusion.
All 17 intelligence agencies.
17 agencies.
17 of our intelligence agencies have confirmed.
17 of our intelligence agencies.
17 different United States intelligence agencies.
17 of them.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be able to hear it because when you put up the video, I didn't hear it as well. It's okay, it's fine, mate.
People are very worried.
Trump, Putin, Russian collusion.
Trump, Russian sort of collusion.
He's got the same last name as Liv's a TikTok, so I assume that's her husband or boyfriend or someone related to her. I don't know.
Yeah, continue.
No, I was just I'm not really sure what to talk about. I didn't really have a plan outside of talking to Sondasol, so
yeah, well,
we can watch videos on Twitter and comment on them.
Yeah, what I suggest is make sure you have a lot of sources with you. I suggest you favorite them, bookmark them, so you can actually put it up fast.
Say that again. I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
The sources you gave out, make sure you bookmark them and favor them, so you'll be able to pull them up fast.
Oh yeah, I'm good. I tell you, my memory used to be really good back in the day. As I'm getting older, it's harder. That's why I usually come on these things without preparing, because I think I can do it usually, but it's like I'm relying on my memory to like be firing when I need it. Sometimes it is. Sometimes
Okay,
it
really
isn't,
quick.
But, yeah.
Really quick, I was just about to shut down my computer. I glanced at your chat. Listen, I love my conversation with you. Your chat is wild. Any of them that want to talk to me before or after my conversation with you are more than welcome to hop into my Discord, because I'll be streaming from 10:45 CST tomorrow. All right. For some reason, all of you guys think that I'm anti-cop and anti-gun. So I don't know where the fuck y'all got that, because I said I was pro-gun. But
yeah, Soul's a good guy. I like him.
Listen, I like fighting. All right. And when I see people that are ready to fight me, I'm ready to fight them. All right.
Yeah, I agree. We should have opposing opinions. It's just that a lot of
oppose his
people
opinion.
Okay. So I do have to shut my computer down like right now, but no shade on you. But yeah, if they want to talk, they can come and talk. Love you. All right, buddy. Catch you later.
Man.
See you, mate.
Anyway,
yeah.
Sondasol, everybody, good guy. He's been around about as long as Darth Jacob has been. Actually, as long as I've been live streaming, Sondasol's been around. So.
Yeah, I actually watched Dronetek. He's really good. The thing is, like to be honest, on the critique point, you're very good at that. But on the debate point, it's slightly weaker.
I agree. It's hard for me. I can, if I'm debating online, that's one, like on text or Twitter or something, that's one thing. But live, that's a whole other beast. It's hard. But I throw myself into it. That I hope I can get better at it.
Yeah, no problem. It's just that you prepare for it, with the critiquing thing, because you get a lot of sources to back it up. It's just that on the debating thing, you just have to it's like. How should I put it? It's like fencing. You're trying to land hits on it, and you're trying to prepare for it, and it's like improvising. You need to you work around your tactics. But
yeah, you gotta be quick, and it's easy to talk about, but when you're actually in the live stream, like I went and did the live stream with Destiny. Okay, I was scared as crap to go out and do that, but I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna do it, and it went all right. Obviously Destiny's a lot smarter than me, but you just gotta try.
Yeah, I know. It's just that I think Destiny is a bit of the more level-headed one compared to, oh my gosh, Bosch. I hate that retard, Bosch. Like, oh my god, like this is the guy who wants to think that adult relationships are okay. Like, mate, if you're gonna say that in person, I will deck you. You hear me? No, not saying that violence is okay, but that sort of thing is going to get you attacked for saying adult relationships are okay. I'm not lying. He said it.
All right. Well, yeah, I agree. I'm with you. Hey, what are your?
Yeah, sorry if I just hate it. Like Vosh, I gotta think. I'm sorry if I actually I just say I want to deck him. But when you hear people say that sort of stuff, who, when there have been real victims of child exploitation material, including, sexual abuse, it's extremely insulting to the victims of sexual abuse. Like, absolutely. So it kind of makes me pissed when I see that sort of stuff. So
For sure.
excuse
I'm not
my
a big fan
friend.
of Vouch. Oh, you're good, man. Well, hey, man, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the stream because it's actually getting kind of late. It's almost 9:30. So I appreciate everybody watching. And another Thursday, I usually call it live Discord chats. I'm going to come up with a new name. But thanks, everybody, for watching. I'm going to go ahead and end it here. But make sure to come and check me out. Nobody watches me anymore. It's okay. I'm going to still make videos every day, almost every day, around 5 o'clock. Check